Did it completely die? Wow.
Yeah, I had to. So on our little utility that we use to stream, there's an orange button that says "Go Live," and I had to hit that again to start. We were completely down.
Huh.
So not sure what happened to everybody out there. Hopefully, this is continuing on in a single show. I guess we'll find out. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I did used to be a teacher. I was a high school English teacher uh,
Amazing.
and coached volleyball as well. Uh, so yeah, I am a high school English teacher by degree, a bulk fueler by military occupational specialty, and an IT professional by accident.
By accident.
Yeah, it was
What?
totally unplanned, but it worked out well. Anywho, enough about that stuff. Before I forget, next month, January show, we will do it the second Wednesday in January. The first Wednesday is just trying to give people a little bit time to come out of the holiday grind. It's also the day before, or possibly the day that some people will be traveling to Richmond. So I want to be careful to try to avoid that. We'll reconvene the following week. It'll be a fairly big show. We'll have the recap of DLC Richmond, which can't wait for that. And last year, or this year, I guess I should say, 2025, in January, we did a wish list for what we
Oh,
wanted to see in
yeah.
Lorcana. So we're going to go and review that wish list, see what came true, what didn't, and then give a wish list for 2026.
Oh, fun.
Coming up later in the show, we will have a chat with Illumineer Cass, talking with her about her remarkable return to the game and to discuss Lorcana as she sees it here at the end of 2025 from the perspective of a player who maybe doesn't always focus on competitive play. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what differences she might see now versus when she took her break. But before we get to that, we're going to have our own State of the Union Summit, or more specifically, State of Social and Casual Play. I'm going to talk about what's working well, what could use some improvement, and just the general quality of life for Illumineers who may not want to travel for large tournaments or maybe not even set championships and just want to engage with the game their own way. And I guess before we can even really dive into that, we need to have a discussion of what is social play, what is casual play, how are we defining it? Because until we set that table, everything else is kind of a sliding scale. So what do we think casual and social play is?
Yeah. I mean, I think you could define it a few different ways, actually. I think that when you talk about social play or casual play, or even just to just say non-competitive, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that there's a lot of things that could fall into that bucket of how people engage with Disney Lorcana, with the game as a non-competitive person. And from my perspective, I'm going to say that I I think that there's um, generally speaking, like 3 buckets of people that engage with Disney Lorcana. You have the competitive players, and then you have collectors. I think there are a lot of people out there who are just collectors and are
Absolutely.
happy to engage with the
Mm-hmm.
game just from the appreciation of the art, getting the cards, opening packs, filling up their binders with shiny cardboard, right? And you have, but then you have this other group of people that I would call the social players that really do still want to play the game, but it's not about the competitive wins that you get. It's about the community or building your fun decks. I want to build a deck around one of my favorite Disney characters. I love this movie and I want to build a deck around it. Or I want to play multiplayer or the Illumineer's Quest, and engaging with the game in those kind of ways, but still playing the game. That's kind of how I tend to view social play. But I know there's still other things beyond just that, but that's kind of how I've always viewed social play.
Tanya, what about you? How do you approach social or casual play?
Yeah, I think Rebecca does a great job sort of defining, the buckets. What I find interesting is there's, Lorcana has brought so many folks who are new to TCGs like ourselves, and this notion of that let's call it the the tension between um let's call it competitive and then casual and then competitive casual, right?
Right.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it comes down to, I think, what's the vibe, right? Like, what is the intention of the group of people who've come together to play, right? And I think there's this notion of, I mean, pick a board game, right? You can be competitive with your family, right? Playing a board game, but it's social, it's casual. So I think that's the space that has been interesting. Here in Austin, we have an incredible Illumineer community, and I think some of the most fun moments that I would really deem some of my favorite kind of social play moments have been, trying to organize the largest Illumineers quests, right? Deep Trouble,
Mhm.
and see how many,
Mhm.
you know, um, games we could get going at a time trying to beat Ursula. And so I think those are like organized moments where I really feel like we're in the spirit of that social play kind of moment. We don't have as many of the franchise theme deck events, right, Rebecca, that you've had
Mhm.
and shared about. So, um, again, I think for me the casual side of it is this year I've traveled quite a bit around the country,
Mm.
and being able to just meet up with Lumineers either at their homes or at a random restaurant, a tabletop somewhere, and just get some games in. I think that's my favorite kind of casual play.
Yeah, I think we've got, on one end of the spectrum, we have, excuse me, um, we have Kitchen Table Lorcana, which is the play however you want with friends and family at your home, use the cards that you have, anything goes. That's the most casual of casual. And that is not just undefeated, it is indefeatable. Because even if the game were to stop being produced right now, your cards still function. It's not like the ink goes away
Right.
and you just have a bunch of blank pieces of cardboard left around. You can always play. But that's not what we're talking about when we say casual play. That will always be, and I'm glad for the folks that just enjoy the game and want to go home and play with their friends and family in the comfort of their home. That's great. Um, on the far other end, you've got your Mo Shamblins and your Zacks and your Ed Chews and your Zans and the folks that are gunning for that golden Mickey and DKP, who's the world champion, and you're going for that trophy. So you've got the folks that have those high level competitive aspirations. That's the polar opposite. So the social play and the casual play that we're talking about is somewhere in the middle there.
Mhm.
Um, I think for kind of what we're looking at there, it's a broad spectrum. It's really hard to put it all in a jar, because yes, you've got the folks, Daniel, like yourself, who are looking at the Illumineers quest and that kind of event. You've got folks that are engaging in theme deck play, and maybe they want to do a tournament of just movie decks, right? And we've definitely done that. I know Rebecca's local scene has done that, and several others. And there's different ways to do that. You've got multiplayer formats, whether it's just people, like what we do, we just play our any regular deck, and basically it'd be an infinity deck at this point.
Mhm.
Um, so people are talking about, oh yeah, free Hiram. I'm like, he was never in a cage from my perspective. If we want to play him, we just play him. But we'll just run whatever decks we feel like against our friends. We'll kind of have a conversation about, hey, are we feeling more spicy today? Are we feeling more casual? I mean, I've got everything from the combo racer deck, which can just win on a dime, to puppies, to a pure Dalmatians deck, to a pure Mulan deck. I've got flingers, which I have a ton of fun with, and I've had a princess deck for a long time, and all sorts of different stuff like that. Is any of it competitive? Maybe flingers is sort of ish. For the most part, no. But the point is we can have that conversation with the folks that we play with and say, what are we feeling? And then I can choose a deck to match that level.
Mm-hmm.
You've got things like Heroic. You've got, Shift Leader, the form that Garrett from Ravensburger introduced us to, which Rarity, which I actually enjoy. Different ways to play that you don't have to be in a tournament for. And any of this could be tournament or not. You've got people who go to DLCs and who do traveling to things like the Epcot Festival of the Arts, where they're going to have a collection quest style event similar to what we had in California Adventure with Belle and the Beast and getting those cards, which was wildly successful from our perspective. Hopefully Ravensburger and Disney feel the same way.
Right.
And is that casual? I mean, people were traveling, spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars and all kinds of time, driving overnight in some cases to get these cards. Is that casual? I mean, not by some definitions, but that's still kind of in the vein of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is included. And so just by the virtue of the conversation we've been having here over the past few minutes, there's definitely outlets for play. There's definitely outlets for engagement. It's not in dire straits. And yet we hear reports from people like the Sprinkles, where their local meta is dying or completely gone, and there's forget casual or competitive. There's just looking for a place to play at all. You've got people like Goon saying similar things. And if there's no local scene, then other than Kitchen Table Lorcana, there's no casual scene. And that's a problem as well. So things are not perfect, but we still have, there is still a pulse on casual play and social play. There's definitely a place for it. And so just kind of want to see what's been working, what hasn't. Over the past few weeks, or not weeks, but months, what are some things that you've seen that have been successful or kind of speak to the health of casual play, the positive health of casual play? What are some of the things that stick out in your mind?
I know that, when you talk about weekly play, and what's happening at your local game store, it's going to vary so much from community to community,
Yes.
as you just mentioned, and everything. And I am so thankful that I have found a store that is more social play, theme decks and different fun deck restrictions that we do each week. And of course, attendance varies, but we have a pretty consistent attendance from week to week for that. And I know that there are plenty of other local game stores all over that have the same. And it's going to vary so much from community to community, but there are pockets, I think, of local game stores that are really supporting a more social play kind of style of their weekly, league. And I think that that's really fantastic. I think that a lot of people want that, like no stress. I just want to come and play fun cards with my friends, right?
Right.
That's what I think. I think a lot of people are looking for that when they go to a local game store. I think that one thing that is interesting lately is, if I can talk about the R word,
Okay.
is Riftbound.
Oh yeah.
I've talked with some other people about this before, that when it comes to people who are like more interested in engaging with a TCG in a competitive manner, that players who are more competitive tend to be a little more fickle, and that there's a new game out and they want to go try it. I know League of Legends has a huge fan base as well, so that's part of the draw there. But there's always new games coming out, and I think that in particular is impacting, I think, the weekly attendance at local game stores. And so then you have communities where maybe previously their Disney Lorcana scene was really bustling and thriving and was able to support all different kinds of play, casual or competitive or whatever. But when you lose a bunch of players who are now interested in this other game that has come up, and then only the players are left who are more casually inclined or who are, the diehard Disney fans. Like for me, I'm like, I'm playing this TCG because I'm a Disney person, and so a new game comes up, I'm not really interested. But I think that is an interesting aspect of when you have new TCGs that come on the scene, how that impacts the local game store scene. And I think that we're seeing that lately with some of the bigger games that have come out.
Yeah, it's a good point. I actually did dabble with Riftbound for a little bit. I thought maybe I would use that as a competitive outlet and keep Lorcana social. What I realized is I just don't have the brain space for two games. In my adult life with career and everything else going on, it's just not feasible for me.
Yeah. I don't know how people do it, honestly.
Yeah. We had a small handful of folks that were competitive Lorcana players switched to Riftbound. But what's interesting is part of the reason I left that is even if I'm playing competitively, I still want a social feel to the game. And what I've told others is with that particular game, there was no chill in the community, at least not in our local community. If you were playing, you were serious, you were out for blood. Right. And that's it. And once it was done, you just went about your merry way. There was no hanging out afterwards, barely any trading. There was some, but it was just all about the event, grinding the matches, and going home, wash, rinse, repeat. And I just don't choose to engage with a game where there is no chill. That's not how I choose to spend my free time. With Lorcana, when I came back to that after the tournament, it was really kind of a breath of fresh air because we're still getting new players in our local meta. Cool. My Friday evening league, the Friday evening weekly play, we still average when it's not a DLC or some other event like that, 14 to 18 players. And it's strictly show up, play who you want, play how you want, don't care. There's no tournament, there's no prizing. It's just roll up, pay for a pack, have a good time, and that's it. And you have social players coexisting side by side with more competitive players, very respectfully, I might add. It's tremendous, and I count myself fortunate because I know there are plenty of other people out there that would long for something like that and just don't have it in their local area. So yeah, I do see that it's happening at least here locally. It's doing well. I know there are pockets where it's having still great success. Daniel, what are you seeing that's going well for social play in your area?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think in Austin, we're fortunate. We have over 5+ stores that have, organized play. And, I would say it varies. There's definitely a core community that I think is keeping the momentum of playing Lorcana on, there's at least something going on almost every night of the week. And, really grateful to have an Austin community that supports that. I think, here's my curious question, right? We've certainly in the last few weeks, we've seen some commentary about stores, shutting down, stores, essentially quitting Lorcana. We just had another one who said, "Hey, we're selling all of our singles. Who wants to buy? Right, we're out." And it kind of raises a point for me, which is, is social play profitable for a store? And if it's not, right, then what you're really talking about is an investment in the community, a community that, respects the store and gives back in a lot of ways, right. In purchasing product, and other type of maybe even other activities, accessories, you name it. But I don't know. It's just something I've been pondering, right? As we think about, where does the responsibility sort of fall when it comes to building a thriving community? How much of it is on Ravensburger to provide mechanisms, right, or incentives through a more formal, organized play that sort of creates the space for social play, versus stores creating, bringing their own creativity into the kinds of events that they host by listening to what their community wants. Versus, as I've traveled around the country, the places where there were stores and the stores sort of ceased to exist, and you have this almost core base of ambassadors that are unofficial, that are just trying to keep the game alive.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I think when I think about that, it's really tough, and I don't have a strong answer, right? There's not really a playbook here, because I think Lorcana is trying to do something very, very different than other TCGs.
It definitely is.
To your point, Scott. So yeah, there's one last thing, like to your point about Riftbound, it's a brand new game. It's attracting the people who are really excited about a TCG, or, again, I don't, my hunch says that the average League of Legends player has not jumped into Riftbound yet, right? Have they even been able to find product? And so,
fair question.
And you compare that with, let's say Pokemon, right? Where the game's been around for so long. Almost every single coworker I know of that has a kid has collected a Pokemon card at some point in time.
At some point,
and so, at some point, right? And so again, these games are they're in such different states. And I don't know, like there's something that to be said about, strategically don't compare yourself, right? Because you're not going to find value creation, value capture that way. Disney Lorcana should focus on being, not trying to just run a blueprint like other games, right? Because it is something really special. It's something really different.
1,000%.
And so I don't know. I want to open the conversation up from there, from that angle. Right?
I do have a question, and I don't know if Scott, with your background experience, if you know, but what you're saying, do you know? I've heard two different things. I have heard some people say that at the LGS level, at least, that it's the competitive players who are buying more product. But I don't know if that's true, because I feel like a lot of competitors are just out there buying singles for their competitive decks. But that's just me. But I know I was talking with someone who was saying, like, when you look at a game like Pokemon, that they're like the players out there who are, keeping revenue, like money in the pockets of the people who make the game, are those kitchen table players.
Yes.
They're the people who are buying packs for their kids. Like you said, Daniel, they're buying stocking stuffers and whatever else right now at Target for Christmas gifts and whatever. And that it is more of the people who engage in a like a non-competitive manner, who actually are the ones that, from a financial perspective, are supporting the game's livelihood in the long run, right? And so I'm really curious, like, Disney Lorcana is still just 2.5, not quite 2.5 years into the game, and that we're not. It's like we haven't hit that tipping point, maybe, of building up that base of the kitchen table warriors, for Disney Lorcana to support the game in the long run. But then I think that's the key then, is how do we invite those people in to the game? And I know we're going to talk more with Illumineer Cass and some of the other things that we see going on that Disney Lorcana is doing to market the event, or market the game through different events and everything. And I think that that's a key part of it, is because right now I think there's still the people who I think would be the most interested in getting into the game in a more kitchen table or even collector aspect are still the people that I think that's the widest unreached audience at this point in the game, it feels like.
Yeah, I don't have any information on who the game is hitting. To your point about Pokemon players, it's the kitchen table Pokemon that's really driving the sales. And as far as who's buying product, the general kind of adage that I hold to is competitive sells singles, social sells packs. And so what I mean by that is your casual players, they might buy kind of like what you were saying, a few packs at Target, maybe a trove, your gift sets, things like that. Then those cards might get traded or sold. Some of the cards might get traded or sold to more competitive players, or maybe they're just played in their kitchen table. What we see here locally, and what I've seen really in kind of across the country, is your more social players, or your players who like to play competitively, but maybe they can't or choose not to go beyond their local metas. They're buying a case or cases of product. And then there are pockets of competitive players. Maybe they have a sponsorship from a company. Maybe they own a game company. You kind of look at Forbidden Mountain, who they have a card store, but they also run a competitive team, and they're cracking 20 cases or more per set. So I'm not talking about them. That's going to happen. I think the majority of your individual competitive players are just buying singles on TCG Player or at their local game stores or from their local meta. But I do think that by and large, and I would reference these past two sets, to be honest, Fabled and Whispers. It's your collectors and your social players that are buying the volume of product and then releasing the singles they don't need. People have been going for those iconics like crazy. People have been going for some of the newer cards. They've been enjoying the epics. Both sets have been a bit difficult in some pockets of the nation to acquire product. We've been fairly fortunate, but I know, Fabled was allocated all over the place. I don't know if we were able to meet demand there or not. But I don't think there's a ton of product left at warehouses or on shelves at distributors. For both of these sets, I think sales have been good versus the quantity printed. I think Ravensburger is getting better at dialing that in, which is great. Glad to see they're getting a handle on that. I think we probably could have had a little bit more Fabled, but because that was so heavy reprints, I don't blame them for not printing as much. And then they're competing with games like Riftbound and soon to be Cyberpunk. Now that's on the horizon. Look out. We've just got a TCG glut, and they're all competing for the same printers for the most part, unless you're Pokemon, who owns their printers now. Daniel, to speak to your question about where's the onus, I think it's really kind of the holy trinity in that you need publisher, player, and LGS to be aligned. If their players aren't there, then there is no community and it's moot. If the publisher doesn't give you a reason to play, then desire fizzles. And if the LGS doesn't provide a space and or support for the type of play that the players want, then they go elsewhere or quit altogether. It requires a three-way handshake. And I think Rebecca kind of saw this firsthand, going way back to when she first started playing and trying to work with her game store on just getting even a single table carved out for the more social players. And that in itself was a challenge and effectively forced her to go elsewhere. Am I recalling that right, Rebecca?
That is correct.
And so eventually she did find a landing spot, but only because all three entities were able to indirectly work together to allow that to happen, to allow that to grow. So I don't know that the responsibility lies on any one necessarily entity heavier than the other. I think it really does take a balance of all three. And to that end, like I know we've talked about some of the things that players are doing, and at this point, I do kind of want to give an opportunity to Rebecca to plug her event coming up in March.
Yeah, the Glimmer Games. We're very excited about the Glimmer
Woohoo!
Games. It's coming March 21st and 22nd, and I think, one of the reasons why we decided to do this event in the first place was because there's a lot of people in our local community who are fantastic competitive players who want to play competitively, but there's also a big thriving social community as well. And so we wanted to create an event that would have something for everyone. And so we are having a 256 player competitive tournament that will run on Saturday and then into Sunday with the top cut. But then we're also having a bunch of other more social play activities. We're going to have Disney Lorcana trivia. We're going to have like a Disney bound cosplay contest. We're going to have probably a speed puzzling event and other ways that people can engage, having Illumineer's quest out on tables for people to do, and probably like some little like quest side events that they can do to earn tickets for the prize table that we're going to have. So tickets are going to go on sale for that very soon. We are hoping to get them up actually next week, but we're still waiting on a couple things. So we are hoping, though, that tickets will go on sale for those soon. And yeah, we really just want it to be a place for the whole Disney Lorcana community to come together. And no matter how you enjoy engaging with the game, that there's going to be something for you.
So that's an extreme example of kind of community-driven support. But those examples definitely do exist on both a small and a large scale. It takes the LGS and other partners like that to help facilitate. And some of them, I don't understand. I don't understand. We know that because we've seen it's totally possible and feasible to have people just come in and play how they want and make that be an event and be perfectly fun and fine. Not everything has to be a tournament. And yet there are so many stores that I encounter that when you bring up that concept, it's like you are speaking a language they've never heard of before.
It's very true.
And it's like, it takes literally less effort than to run and organize a tournament. It's wild to me that they think that's too hard. It's like, it's the easiest possible thing. Just open the door.
Right. Yep.
But regardless, whether if the local community wants tournaments, but wants them in the form of, again, movie themes or monocolor decks or whatever the case may be, something offbeat, it still takes a store and an organizer to help facilitate that. And the part that I kind of want to focus on just briefly here, what are we seeing from Ravensburger? Because that's the publisher aspect of that triangle. Are there things they've done well? Are there things that they could be doing better? Like I'm concerned about the lack of the pins. I know that's reduced some interest. Hopefully that's a temporary thing. They've kind of hinted here and there that they want to bring them back, but maybe in a different way. We'll see. But what are some things like that they're doing well, or that have helped or hurt?
Yeah, the pin change is a bummer. I know, Daniel, you've talked about that before.
Yeah, I have. I think like when I think back to February of this year, we had a really fun experience where Ravensburger sent out, products specifically to be used for Pack Rush, right? And
Yes.
Yeah.
it was themed around and tied around Valentine's and fun. I think that created a sort of new vibe, right? Because it was something that was supported, and the stores didn't have to actually allocate their own product to make that event happen, right? I mean, even these were booster boxes that were sent with like a special seal around it saying to be used for this, right? And so I think that's one example. I know that one of the stores we're working with, they just got an invitation to essentially help market Illumineer's Quest, so Palace Heist. And so from, again, I haven't seen a whole lot of official communication on this yet. Maybe it was mentioned in the most recent Lorecast. I've missed the last two, but from, I think, February 6th to the 12th, stores that have signed up will receive 2 copies of the Illumineer's Quest Palace Heist, and basically one gets to be used as a demo, the other one gets to be awarded to a participant. There's lots of different ways you can choose how how an LGS chooses to do that, but I love that, right? There's this aspect of kind of, I think, starting to target more maybe of the board game variety, right? That, again, I think the Illumineer's Quest co-op model has done. And so, I do see that. I mean, again, that event is happening like exactly 1 year from when the Pack Rush event happened. And so, I think Ravensburger is testing some things out. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's actually a really good example. And you could even say that maybe that extends out to the Infinity Weekend this weekend, where they're sitting out the whole new world promos and basically letting stores run an Infinity style event of their choosing. Ours is going to end up being Chaos Sealed. So it's just choose 6 packs from what they've got in stock, and we're going to do a sealed event that way.
Fun.
And that is Infinity, right? As long as it goes back to the prior, I guess really anything would be Infinity.
True.
but yeah, they're definitely doing different things. I think they're trying to find their footing. I think the social crowd is a bit mercurial because there's so many different aspects to it. And so how is Ravensburger supposed to know exactly what that is? How are they supposed to cater to a crowd that is so diverse in their desires and how they approach? I think they're doing the best they can. And like I said, to Daniel's question about where does the responsibility lie? It's on all of us. It's going to take all parts to make it happen. It is happening, and we need to continue to help that scene thrive. Enough from our perspective. We want to go ahead and get our guest in here. We have a fun guest tonight. She was an early enthusiastic but a little bit timid content creator at first, who eventually did find her voice on Twitter and in podcast form, both with her own visage as well as through her cosplay, particularly of Ursula. She eventually needed to take a break from the game and has recently returned. So we are very glad to have her back in the Disney Lorcana fold. Please welcome to the show, Illumineer Cass. Cass, welcome to the program.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Hey.
Cass, I remember some of your earliest tweets where you were asking, "Hey, would you be interested in seeing this?" And I'm thinking about doing a cosplay, and do folks want to see kind of in progress photos? And I'm like, "Girl, do it, like put it out there. Yes, we want to see it. We want to see it all." I was certain you had something to say, and I was just waiting for you to say whatever that was. I was thrilled when you started doing the podcast. I was glad to see all of your posts about your cosplays and your thematic food items that you would bring to your events.
Yes.
So I was bummed when you left. Couldn't have been happier to see that you've returned. So now that you've come back, what are you seeing? How are you engaging with the community?
So I'm still back at the same LGS I was before, and they still, like Rebecca's, they keep things pretty casual for the most part, which is great for me. We do a lot of Pack Rush, which, who here doesn't like Pack Rush, right? Like, it's fun. And yeah, I actually, since I got back into the game, I also got one of my massage clients. She started coming. Her first night, she pulled the Hades. I was like, "You're one of us now. You can't leave."
Wow. You cannot leave. That's just the rule. Way. We don't make up the rules. That's just how it is.
But yeah. No, go ahead.
No. I was just saying. So you've come back. You're bringing more people into the game. What inspired the return?
So I had been debating getting back into it. I was missing the community. Like as you've pointed out, I'm kind of a shy and quiet person for the most part. And I don't really have any other social interactions outside of massage, which is not exactly a chatty situation.
Sure.
Right, right.
So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. We'll get back into it. And my oldest, she is at a point now where she has started like building her own decks, and it has been so fantastic to see her grow as a player. And I'm just loving it.
How old is your oldest?
She'll be 14 next month.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super fun. I can imagine too, like as a mother, like especially because you're in a job that is, like you said, not very chatty. It's like finding an outlet and like a way to talk with other adults and have some fun and like feel like your own person, like is really important. Like, do you feel like that's one of the reasons like that you were drawn back to Disney Lorcana?
Yeah, like exactly. I mean, I spend most of my day in the dark and the quiet. I need to talk to people. Plus, Disney's just fun, right? They're fun characters. Everybody recognizes them, and it's always a good time.
What would you say is excuse me, similar from when you left to when you came back, and do you notice any differences in the community and in the style of play since you've returned?
Like I said, my LGS has always been pretty casual oriented, which is pretty great. We stopped doing trivia, which is a bummer. Ramel, if you're listening, bring it back. But yeah, we do a lot of like pack rush. We did a single player deck tournament. As we get closer to set champs, they do more like core constructed stuff. But this week we actually did like an infinity movie night. So I got to bring my eels back out, which of course we love that, right?
Absolutely.
I forever associate you with an Ursula Eels deck. Like that is your deck.
Now reprint the rest of them so I can play them all again, please and thank you.
Just not the 3-drop.
Yeah. So what, as you've come back, have you noticed anything, I guess, other than reprinting the eels? What would you like to see Ravensburger and or the community of players do when it comes to the style of play you enjoy? Do you feel you have enough support to continue to enjoy it? What are your thoughts on that?
I would definitely like to see them kind of supporting more casual events. Like I know you guys had talked about how they did that pack rush event where they sent out packs just for that. I want to see more things like that because I feel like pack rush in particular is such a good way to get new players in the door. You're just playing with 2 packs. You don't have to bring anything. You don't have to know anything. You just sit down. Here's your cards and you go.
It's my favorite way to play.
And it's so for people who are brand. I know they have the gateway product, which is great, but there's just something about Pack Rush that I feel like is so I don't know. It's so accessible, even more so, I think, in some ways than Gateway. It's like play a game of Pack Rush or two, and then if you want to learn how to play fully, then dive into Gateway kind of thing. It's like Pack Rush is the gateway to Gateway.
Yes.
Right.
That's exactly what I did with my friend who came. I was like, okay, you're going to play Pack Rush first. And then you pulled the Hades. Now you have to stay with us forever. So there you go.
Yeah, we were.
Cass,
no, you're fine.
Sorry, Scott. I'm going to switch this in a slightly different direction. If there was a digital client, how many hours do you think you would spend on it a week?
Oh my gosh, more than I should. I don't need sleep. It's fine.
I think this is a really important piece to the social play conversation we haven't had yet, and I was waiting for Cass to join because, look, I mean, one of the things I've loved about following your journey is as a fellow parent, right? Of just when do you have time, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
what it's more of
Never.
what am I sacrificing to make time? Because there is never enough time.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's a
Bingo.
good way of putting it. Yep.
So I kind of look at it from the other side of the coin. I do think that a digital client is a net positive, but once one is released, while it will certainly be a venue for some folks to engage with the game more, is there then a need to play in person anymore? Does that hurt the in-person community that already exists?
Yes and no, I think. And the hard thing is, I think that really varies from person to person, right? I think
Sure.
for some people, playing on a computer is like just playing the game. Well, what's interesting is if we go back to the discussion that you were having, saying, Scott, about how you saw people engaging in Riftbound, right?
Yep.
They were just locked in, grinding, playing the games in and out, and that's all that mattered to them, right? So the grinders, maybe a digital client then replaces the in-person experience of playing a game. But I think from a social play perspective, the people who want community, I think, are still going to seek out that in-person experience of playing the game with other people. But having a digital client will just allow them the time that they wouldn't otherwise have to grow as a player. And I think that there are a lot of players who are more on the social play side that just don't have the time to invest in getting together with people to play test and things if they wanted to grow as a player. So I see both happening as far as like, will it replace in-person play? And I don't know how you would stop one from happening without giving the opportunity, for
Yeah.
the other to happen.
Cass, I know that at least originally you were trying to go to set championships when you could.
Yeah.
Would a digital client, would practice on a digital client have helped you feel more comfortable when you got to those set championships?
Probably, because like I said, I mean, I love my league. We do a lot of casual stuff, but then I don't get in many of those reps with like my core constructed deck. And so feel like, yeah, I'd like to have that balance to where I can go in and play and have that social interaction and bring snacks for everybody and do all of that, but still get in those reps on my own time for that one deck that I really want to play for set champs.
If you're going to bring snacks, you're welcome in our league anytime. Just going to put that out there. What are some of the, remind the folks who may have forgotten, what are some of the fun snacks that you've brought for your community?
Well, let's see. I did the like Shimmering Skies Blondie bars where I like tie-dyed them to look like the sky. One time, oh no, it was the Azurite Sea one. The girls and we made like Rice Krispie treats with like little Swedish fish and other candies to make them look like sushi.
So Daniel, we needed her for World Championships to go along with the mocktails that we had.
Yeah. That would have been fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, have you noticed any difference from then to now? I mean, and how long were you gone for?
I was out of the game all the way from Reign of Jafar and Fabled and just came back for Whispers. So I was out for quite a while.
So two sets roughly.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
6 months. Yeah.
So yeah, so set rotation happened while I was dealing with life. But yeah, we've had quite a few. We did lose some players, but we've had a few new people come in. So in the end, it kind of balanced out in my local scene for the most part. I'm always trying to come up with more ways to get more kids engaged because a lot of the times my girls are the only kids there. And I'm like, you could play against each other at home. So hopefully we can get more of that going. For a while there, my oldest had talked about trying to get like a Lorcana club started at her school, but bless her sweetheart, she's even more shy and quiet than I am. Just work in progress.
Did you, Cass, ever go? I don't think you ever did. Did you ever make it to a Disney Lorcana challenge in the first season?
I have not.
So my question for you then is, you know, if you had the time and the funds to make your way to one, like for you, what is the draw to go to a Disney Lorcana challenge?
Oh, it's just to meet everyone, to actually see you guys all in person, to have everyone sign the bucket hat. I still have the B squared sign bucket hat. I need more signatures on it. Like, that's it. Beyond that, wear costumes, talk to everyone. I am good. I don't even have to touch cards the whole time I'm there, and I will be happy.
Is that a desire that you have? Do you want to make it to one at some point?
I would love to at some point. Yeah, my sister and I, we were going to try and go to Vegas, but then she injured herself, and then she's fine now, but kind of derailed.
Plans, yeah. I hope you do get to go to one
Yeah.
at some point. It is, I mean, I think the community definitely is magical. Like that's always what everybody says, and it's true. Like just being there together with everyone, and it is interesting though when you think about the Disney Lorcana Challenge and like what do they have going on for the people who aren't interested in playing in the main event, you know, but still want to go and be together with the community. I mean, you could just bring cards or like you're saying, just not touch cards all weekend, but like
I'll bring snacks and give massages. It'll be fine.
snacks and massages. I'm there. You know, but it's like what would you like to see as far as like side events or other things that they have already been doing or things that they haven't been doing that you would like to see that you would think would be fun for you to engage with?
Well, because I'm me, I would love to see like a cosplay contest of some kind going on at these events. Please.
Yes. We'll get there. I hope they do someday. I think what's interesting is I think that the North American Championships, now I only went to the one in Bologna, but people are way more dressed up in all the North American DLCs that I've gone to than the Bologna one. But we need a cosplay contest for sure.
Do you think there's any fear from Disney about cosplay? Because they don't let you do full cosplay into the parks, to let you Disney bound.
They don't, but they do have. There's some cosplay. I mean, I shouldn't say that there's nothing official, I suppose, ish. But at D23 Expo, which happens every 2 years at the Anaheim Convention Center, like cosplaying is a huge thing that happens there. And they do have some, I guess, official meetups for different cosplayers, and they take official photos for the event. So it's definitely something that they support in that respect. So I wouldn't imagine that there would be anything from like a Disney, you know, like a corporate perspective of why they wouldn't want to have it.
Yeah.
I would be really curious to know, like, yeah, if there is any hesitancy from the company on holding something like that. I would be really curious. But I think that the community, if you said there was an actual like cosplay contest, like I think you would have a good portion of the community like going all in.
Yeah. I would hope that Zebex would throw her name in the hat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and Disney cosplayers, you know what's interesting too is there's a lot of people out there that are not Disney Lorcana players, but they are like Disney people and do Disney cosplay. I wonder if you had something like that, would it get them to the events just to participate in a big Disney Lorcana cosplay contest?
And they don't have to be elaborate to be good.
No.
I remember the most stunning one we saw. It was relatively simple and just well put together. It was Belle Mystic, and she was carrying the rose.
Yeah.
Saw her at North American.
She was at the championships. Yeah. And then she did Belle the mechanic. I forget the name of that one is, but the Belle mechanic card. Yeah. She did that in Milwaukee, and Aladdin's Castle AC. He did power line, which was super cool. There were some great
cool.
cosplays in Milwaukee. There's some good ones. I mean, Gen Con, I know that was definitely an experience being at Gen Con and seeing all the cosplayers there. Obviously, that is a much wider, vast array of cosplays that you'll see at an
Sure.
event like that. But going to Gen Con and then being at D23 are really the only two events that I've been at where cosplay was a big part of it. And I could really see a Disney Lorcana challenge incorporating something like that and it being just wildly successful.
So, Cass, I know you've a busy schedule between work and Lorcana and household and kids and everything. Do you have any desire and or availability for some type of content creation like you had been doing before?
I would love to say yes, but right now everything is really up in the air. Hopefully some point down the line I can get back into doing things more regularly.
Sure.
I do want to start doing some cosplay stuff again, but it's Christmas time. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
In the new year. Wait till the new year. The next set champs, you and your daughter, I can't wait to see like a family cosplay one of these days.
I don't know. They've never even let me do like matching Halloween costumes for them, which is
For shame.
I have 3 daughters and they've never let me do like the Sanderson sisters. None of it.
Oh man, that'd be so good.
No one wants to be Winifred. I get it.
Well, I do hope that at some point, if the desire is there, that desire and opportunity and time all meet for you. I stand by what I said, over a year ago that I do believe you have something to say. I think you have come into your Lorcana voice. There hasn't been a question posed to you where you didn't have a thought or an answer or something to offer, and because you come at it from a different perspective, I think your voice is all the more valuable in the community. We need folks such as yourself that enjoy the game and would like to win, but maybe holding the golden Mickey isn't necessarily your prime focus.
I would probably have so much anxiety. I would like fall off the stage if we ever.
Well, I'm glad you were able to make it. Any any last thoughts you have tonight as our hour of programming comes to a close on casual play, social play, things that you enjoy, things you don't, what you'd like to see?
Everybody needs to go support their LGS right now. No, not right now. It's too late, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's the biggest thing, right? Is if we want to grow this community, we need to make sure we are getting out there, putting the game out to everyone. You never know what random person that you think maybe isn't interested in the game might be. So talk to your coworkers, your friends, anybody, everybody. Let's just keep growing this community, guys.
Love it.
Well said.
Sounds good. Well, Cass, thank you for coming on the show tonight. I will toss it over to my co-hosts as the hour winds down. Any last thoughts from me, Daniel or Rebecca?
I know we are out of time and we don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but I do want to shout out Disney Lorcana and the team at Ravensburger for what they're doing at the International Festival of the Arts at Epcot coming up in January and February. I know that you kind of mentioned it, Scott, but I think seeing Disney Lorcana having a bigger presence in the Disney parks is just so huge for the game and is going to introduce so many more new people to the game. And I'm excited for seeing more things like that. I think the Collection Quest is such a fun event, and I think that it's going to go a long way in growing the game. So
yeah,
I wish I could go.
I had friends who are not Lorcana players reach out to me and ask if I was going to Epcot. I was like, yeah, that's a little bit too rich for my blood right now. I am grateful that it is happening. I wish I could make it. It's not for lack of want, that's for sure. I am curious about what they in press, I'm seeing large, air quotes, larger than life trading cards.
Yeah, that's the Ink and Find event.
Yes.
So I would imagine they're going to be Ryan Miller sized cards that they
Yeah.
have throughout Epcot, and that it's like a little scavenger hunt. And when you find one, it sounds like you get a sticker or you match it to I don't know, something on your quest book. So, which I think is fun because, real quick, is the collection quest is more of a contained event, right?
Mhm, right.
You're there in an area, you're trading with the other people who are involved and all of that. But this Ink and Find, where they're having these giant sized cards throughout the park, now people who did not go over to the Moroccan Pavilion to get their collection quest booklet to participate in the event are going to see these cards and go, what is that? And hopefully pique their interest with the beautiful art on it and everything. So I think it's going to be really cool, and I want one of those cards.
You know what it reminds me of is that promotion Disneyland had for their anniversary, where you take the key and go around
the
to
magic key around.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we're doing that with Lorcana instead, and I think that's awesome. I'd be tempted to take one of those cards home.
Yeah. What they need to do next here, Ravensburger, if you're listening, next level is you need to create a ink caster, item that you can buy in the shop.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just like that magic key, and
Yes.
that you can go around and have a Disney Lorcana pin inside of it that you can unlock once you unlock all 6 inks around the park or whatever. That's the next level I want to see.
Yep.
And can I customize it to light up in my 2 favorite inks as an
Absolutely.
Illumineer? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Wish list for 2026.
Exactly. Yes. Sorry, I went off the tracks a little bit there.
No, that's okay.
That's my parting thoughts.
If they continue to offer that, I guess part of my wish list would be, let's make Worlds open again. And if we're going to have it at Disney World, let's have this event during Worlds.
Yes, please. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel, what about you? Last thoughts?
Yeah, 2. One is, the game has not arrived until every cast member knows what the game is and how to play it. So there's that.
Yes.
So if anyone needs to teach cast members,
and they don't yet.
I know people. They don't.
Right?
They don't. I tried to do some stuff with DCP and slow progress there. No, but cast, I would say, we've really taken a step back from weekly play this fall and really just focus on helping Lily build out this Lorcana for Kids program. And so got big plans, hopefully, for that for next year. And, would love to chat more with you about, ideas that your daughter has. And, after school programs, what would a kit look like, right? And what would she want to see? What would be helpful for her? So that's an idea that I've definitely been rolling around in my head for probably 6 months now. And I think we've been testing some things this fall, and we're really excited for next year.
Nice.
So more to come.
Awesome.
All right. Well, this is the point in the program where I would normally hit the outro. But like I said, no music this week because technology. So on behalf of Illumineer Cass and on behalf of hosts Daniel and Rebecca, thank you very much for tuning into this episode of Vox Lorcana and spending a little time with us this evening. And as always, Lorcana means family. Good night, everybody.
Good night.